Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Sorry this is a little late. It's been a few weeks, I'll say that. So today's episode is a Chattin with Alana. I have no idea what number it is. I didn't even look. It'll be in the title of the video. So I have a lot of stuff to show you. I have a lot of stuff to talk about. I have a whole little list right here so I don't forget anything. So get you a project, get you something to snack on, something to drink, whatever you want. And yeah, sit back and listen to me yap for a little while. So to start off, I want to apologize for the little absence. Here's the thing. Whenever I am absent like that, or like, you know, I go a week without posting a video, I don't like to say that I'm going to do that, because it seems like if I announce, hey, I'm going to, you know, not put out a video for a week, bam, I'll have like a couple hundred people unsubscribe, and it's just like, I'm just not going to tell you. Meaning that towards the ones that unsubscribe, not to the ones that don't. But, so at first I want to apologize for that. It has just been crazy around here. Well, I shouldn't say crazy. It's just been good and bad. I'll say that. So the first things first, the last thing I think I talked to you guys about was when we were getting ready to go to Iowa to spend the weekend with our oldest, because she was at a church summer camp and she was working as a camp counselor. So my husband and I left. Well, I say that because what I'm trying to say is that that's where I'll start, and then I'll come up to today. So we left here. We drove up to Iowa, which was awesome. We stayed the night in what's supposedly the most haunted hotel in Iowa. Nothing happened. Well, I say that, but at about 11 o'clock, oh man, yeah, it was probably about 11 o'clock at night. My husband and I were dead asleep, and all of a sudden we just hear this scream. Like, it sounded like it was right outside of our door. And I opened my eyes and I sat straight up and I looked at him and he didn't move, and all I hear is, I heard it. That's all he said. I heard it. And I was like, was that like, do we have neighbors in this hotel? And he's like, it probably was, honey. So I just, you know, covered up and went back to sleep. And the next morning he's like, I don't know if that was neighbors or not. I just told you that so you wouldn't freak out, so you'd go back to sleep. I was like, thanks. But it could have been neighbors. I don't know. Probably just because there's a little bar down the street. So I told him, I was like, it was probably just neighbors drunk coming back, and the husband probably scared the wife and she screamed. That I'm like 80% sure that's what it was. But anyway, so we stayed in this hotel, and then we hit up a few antique stores, thrift stores, and one of them, I don't remember where it was, but it was somewhere in Iowa. I kind of hit the jackpot, and I was super excited about this because I got a whole little box. There's not a lot in here to show you, but what I found I was super excited about. So there was this thrift store that had everything I'm getting ready to show you for $1. And I was like, I am not passing these up. So I went through the pile they had. I grabbed a few and I left a few just because, like, I noticed one, it had a crack in the plastic of the doll arm. And then I noticed, I don't know what it was, something else. Anyway, so I grabbed all of these for $1. We have a Mrs. Claus. Let me kind of show. Oh, another thing, one of my ring lights went out, so the only one I have is like this one that I think my daughter actually won at post-prom and she gave it to me, but it's super bright, so it's kind of hard to show you without a big old glare on it. But so I found her for $1, and then of course I had to get Santa Claus to go with her, so I got that set for $2. And then I found Grandma and Grandpa, each for $1. I love these. I think these are so stinking cute, and I'm pretty sure I have a pattern for both of these. Now I know the pattern that I have. Wait, is that right? Hold on just a second and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I do have a pattern for a grandma and a grandpa. However, they were actually made for these two. For this doll and her. But whenever I made the clothes for those dolls, I didn't have those dolls. So what I did is I took the plastic heads that I have for a grandma and a grandpa, and I made a body for them, and then I just made the clothes that were supposed to go on those dolls on these. So that's the grandma and grandpa that I did. I told my husband, I was like, this is me and you when we get old, honey. He loved it. Anyway, put those back. So I do have the pattern for that, but I'm pretty sure I have another pattern for clothes for that set. And then I found her for $1. She is the 15-inch classic doll. Shoes, no hair falling out. And then I grabbed her for $1. Oop. And she is just the 13-inch. She's got the hole in the back. So I have all kinds of patterns for these dolls. But for $1, like I said, I didn't want to pass them up because it's getting a little harder to find them at that price. I think it's because I bought them all everywhere that I know where to go. And then the one last thing that I did buy, I didn't necessarily need them, but I can never find these this cheap. I got all of these, so 2, 3, 4, 5 for 25 cents a piece. There we go. And like I said, I can never, I think the cheapest I've ever found them, and I didn't buy them, was $1 a piece. And I was like, I don't need them that bad. I'll save my money. But when I found them for 25 cents, I'm like, nope, I'm getting them. I'm getting them because I wish I would have bought the ones that I did see, and I didn't. So I bought these for 25 cents. And that is actually all. Oh, no, it's not. I found one more thing. Ugh. I found a completed Santa for like $2. I don't necessarily need it, but two things. I wanted this Santa. First of all, I wanted the doll more than I want the crochet, because I actually have one that's this same crochet pattern. This one might be a little nicer. It does need a little cleaned up, like it's got some oh, that scared me. What was that? One of the patterns I have to show you just flew off of the bed and hit me, and it scared me. Okay, but what I was saying was that I wanted this for a couple reasons. I already have this one, and I have a couple more that a friend of mine gifted to me. But I wanted it because of the glasses. And I wanted it 2 because I wanted the doll. And in 3, it's got a doll stand. So I was like, I really want this for more than just the crochet. The one I have that had... My cat just came... My old man just came crawling out from underneath my bed and scared me. For Pete's sake, would you guys just go away and leave me alone? Oy. But, yeah, I mean, this is a pretty nice crochet work for the Christmas outfit. I mean, they did a pretty good job. But I went ahead and just picked it up for $2. I was like, you can't go wrong. I really wanted it because of this glasses. I can never find the glasses. Not just for Santa, but I have other patterns that calls for glasses, and I can never find them. So I grabbed him. I will set him right there for now. Okay, so then we went and spent the day with Emma, and then Emma ended up coming back with us to our hotel and stayed the night with us. And that's the point where my my medical issues that I have been talking about for like the last, I don't know, since I quit smoking 4 years ago. My migraines, my eyesight, my ear, everything just started getting worse and worse and worse. I was having ocular migraines every day. Anyway, I don't want to get too far into it, but it started the day we left Iowa, when Emma went back to work at the camp. On the way, on us driving home, it just, bam, I get this ocular migraine, and I'm popping pills to try to make it stop. My ear is just poof, poof, all the way down my neck. It's killing me. And but yeah, so it starts getting worse at that point. So I'm self-medicating, and it's, it was doing better. So I was like, I have to call my primary doctor. I have to get a hold of him. I can't take this anymore. So I call him, and of course, I don't know about your guys' doctor's office, but I have my primary, and then underneath my primary, there are 2 or 3 nurse practitioners that you can see. Well, you can get into those nurse practitioners, no problem. I did not want that. I wanted to see my primary. So of course, you can't just get into there. It takes a couple of weeks before you can see him. And I was like, I'm fine with that. Just please get me an appointment. And I explained, to the nurse why. So I get my appointment. I'm like, yes. All right. So I got my primary appointment, and then between us driving home from Iowa, a week after that, we leave for Florida, because my husband, for our 15-year dating anniversary, he bought me airplane tickets to go meet my best buddy on YouTube. I met him when I started YouTube, and him and I just clicked, and we talk every single day, multiple times a day, about everything. Anyhow, him and I just became best buddies. He's like 60 some, I can't remember. Anyway, and so I have that time frame when we get home from Iowa. I have a week before we leave for Florida. So I'm dealing with the eye stuff, my ear, all that, and I am busting my butt to film to get you guys content when we're gone. So, and then I'm cleaning house. I'm, getting the girls ready for college. The youngest is in her freshman year of college. The oldest is her sophomore year of college. And I'm trying to get them set up, get all of this stuff done, FAFSA, applying, getting all this other stuff. So, I'm, getting this done, and I'm getting all this filming done for you guys while we're gone. And that's all taken care of. The girls are set. Jalen, she's working throughout the summer. Emma's still in Iowa, and we go to Florida. I'm sorry. Just pause that. Before we leave for Florida, my husband decided, so he has is it a 1-ton truck? I'm pretty sure it's a 1-ton Dodge pickup, or a 3/4 ton. I don't know. It's a heavy truck. Anyway, and it's newer. So this truck has a diesel engine that can be deleted. I don't know. Well, he finally found a mechanic that would do it. That's 2 hours south. So he drove the truck. I drove our little Subaru. And we drove 2 hours south to take this truck to this mechanic to have it deleted. Then we drive 2 hours back. Well, it was longer than 2 hours, because we kind of hit a few thrift stores, antique malls on the way home, and I didn't find anything. I struck out. Let me rephrase that. I didn't strike out. It's just, it gets harder and harder when, you know, I'm trying to save my money and I don't need it, so I don't buy it. I find things that I want, but I don't buy them because I don't need them. Anyway, so we just kind of road tripped back home. So that was an entire day gone that I couldn't film. I couldn't, you know, do clean house, keep the house picked up, do the laundry, get all of this stuff ready for when we leave. Okay, so we take the truck down there, and then we fly to Florida. Have an absolute blast. We stayed with my friend Johnny, and he drove us, him and his partner drove us to Key West, and we went through the Keys, and we had a blast down there. And then we came home, and then Johnny and I just sat and crocheted an entire day. And it was so awesome because, one, I've never crocheted with anyone else because nobody else that I know crochets. And so that was awesome. And we watched my favorite. We watched murder shows, and we crocheted, and then we talked. So that was awesome. Well, then he was gifted a bag, like this big old bag full of crocheted magazines and everything. And he let me go through them and pick out what I wanted. And of course, I took what I can get in my carry-on bag. Because when my husband and I take little trips like that, we don't ever check a bag. It's what we can carry on. You know, you can have a one carry-on and then one personal. Well, my carry-on is my little suitcase, and then my personal is a backpack. And I didn't pack that much going down there, so I had enough room coming back to pack whatever I wanted. So my book bag was empty and ready for anything that I found at thrift stores or anything like that, which shockingly, I didn't find anything. We went to a couple thrift stores, but I didn't find anything. But Johnny let me go through all of these magazines and pick out what I wanted. And I did. I picked out a whole stack. So let me show you these real quick. This, I was super excited because this wasn't in this. He gave me this. I have never seen this little pattern before. And of course, I call them dumpling doll heads. What they're technically called, I don't know. Anyway, I was super excited to find that because I was like, that's getting added to a Finish It Friday project because I love these things. And the whole pattern is on it. It's just one sheet of paper. This is what blew off the bed and hit me a second ago. It scared me. But I keep it in this little folder. And then, of course, we got Crochet World. This is August of '89, and I have no idea if I have these or not. I have been meaning to go through all of my magazines and put them in a Google spreadsheet so I can go through there whenever I find magazines and be like, you know, like if we're at a thrift store and I find a August of '89 Crochet World, I know not to buy it because I have it, and I haven't done that yet. So I might have a couple of these. I may not. I have no idea. But I wasn't going to let a Crochet World sit. So I grabbed that. And then I grabbed Crochet World October 2000. That's pretty. And then I grabbed Crochet World June of 1983. And then I grabbed Crochet World April 99. That is very pretty too. Crochet World October 99. How cute is that? Oh, look. I believe that is him. Maybe. Or a version of him. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Wait a minute. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, never mind. So we have that one. Then we have August of 99. And then we have June of 2000. Let's see who said that there. Then we have McCall's Crochet, June of 1995. Crochet Fantasy, it just says number 32. I don't see a month or a year. Let me look on the inside. December 86, I think. Crochet World, June of 95, and this is a whole crocheted wedding cake. Can you imagine? Then we have April 2000. October 84. I am so ready for fall. Oh, I am so ready for fall. And then we have Women's Day, September of 84. Then we have McCall's Crochet, October of 95. Then I got Variety, the Spice of Macrame. It's just some macrame patterns. I thought maybe this was a magazine, but it's a pattern book. But I grabbed that. I always want to try to macrame something. That's one thing. Every time we go to a thrift store, antique store, what have you, anything like that, I always find macrame stuff that is so cool, like the coolest plant holders. And I have a couple house plants, which I love because I love those house plants, but on the other hand, I can't stand it because I can't keep my cats from chewing on them, so I have to put them all in one spot. So I would love to have a macrame plant holder, but they're so expensive. Every time I find them in these stores, it's like $50, $75, and I'm like, you guys are nuts. But then when you go to Hobby Lobby or anywhere and you find macrame cord and how much that is, I can understand why it's that much. But I grabbed this because there's a couple patterns in here that I'd really like to learn. Like that owl, you wouldn't have to make that from macrame cord. You could make that from yarn and just hang it on the wall. So I grabbed that. And then I got another Crochet World, December 2000. And then I got, let's see, I think this is just a pattern book from Red Heart, Crochet with Red Heart, and it has some Afghans in it. 27 projects. So are they all Afghans or? Yeah. No, it's not. There's it says a muffler, but I'd call that a scarf. But yeah, this has a couple of different patterns in it. And then I got another Crochet World, August of 83. Look at that clown. That cracks me up. Okay, we got April of 95. She's pretty. Now that I'm showing this, a part of me is kind of like, man, do I have that one? All the best crochet and knits. I don't remember why. I think I got this because I thought the baby was adorable. And then I got another one. It's McCall's. I don't know if I said that. All the best crochet and knits. My cat just went back under the bed. This one is Women's Day Granny Squares and Crocheted Fashion. Is he not the cutest? Look at that. The way he's got his hands in his pockets. That's adorable to me. And then I grabbed this one. Family Circle. June of 1974. I don't know if that's the name of the magazine or what it is, but there is that. That is adorable with that matching hat. Ugh. And I got one more. This one just says Afghans special winter issue. Oh, winter. Oh, it's ripped off. Or is it inside? Yeah, the year is ripped off, I think. Oh, I think it says 1981. See right there? I think it says winter of 81. But there you go. So those are all of the magazines that Johnny so graciously gifted me. I love them. Super excited to have them. So then to finish off our trip, we had an amazing meal, and then we got up at 3 something, I think. No, 2 something. We got up at 2 o'clock, like 2:50 in the morning, threw our clothes on, packed the last thing or two, jumped in the car, got to the airport, flew home. So while we are in Florida, the mechanic calls and says that my husband's truck is done. So when we land in Florida, he decides that we're going to drive 2 hours to pick up the truck, drive 2 hours home. So I was like, whatever, fine, I don't care. So, you know, and in this time, I'm still like self-medicating from these migraines and my ear, and it was driving me nuts. And finally, you know, so we go down there, we get the truck, we get home, and then I, you know, spend a day or two straightening up the house, just kind of chilling out, and, you know, figuring out what my next thing I was going to film for a tutorial. And then the next day was the appointment with my primary, so I go see him, and I just tell him everything. I said I didn't go back to the doctor for a while because I was upset and I was sick of doctors, and, you know, this one says go to this one, this one says go to this one, this one says go to this, and it's just like, and I said that's why I didn't go back. I said, but it's getting to the point to where I can't take it anymore. It hurts. It's every single day I have a migraine. And when I have, it aggravates me so much when someone says, oh, you're having headaches. No, I'm not having headaches. There is such a difference between a migraine and a headache. When you have a headache, your head hurts a little bit. When I have a migraine, I can't see, I can't feel my fingertips, I can't form words, I can't function. This is not a headache. Stop saying headache, because you're pissing me off. I'm sorry, but it just, oh my gosh. So anyway, whenever I told, you know, my doctor all of the things that are happening, I said, my ear is constant. It does not stop. The swelling, the throbbing, the full, like, it feels like my ear is so full, it's about to, like, come out. Like, you know, my prolapse, like, my inner ear is going to prolapse out. That's how swollen and tight and full it feels. The tinnitus, I can handle that. It's like I told my primary, if everything else goes away and the tinnitus stays, I am perfectly fine. I cannot take it anymore, the rest of the symptoms. Anyway, I told him, you know, everything that's happening. And he says, I want to tell you, you said a few words that are instant. I send you to a neurologist. He's like, you know, you said the fingertips, the ocular migraine, and what I mean by that is, like, you get what's called aura. They call it aura in your vision, and basically what it is, it's like this undulating spot in my vision that gets excuse me, that gets bigger or smaller, and it moves shape, and it's exactly like looking at white noise on an older TV. That's exactly what it looks like, and it fills my vision, and I cannot see a thing. I can't see anything past it. And finally, it'll just kind of just like span out, and then it goes away. But then after that, I can't see still because of the light sensitivity. Like, it's horrible. I can't read. I can't look at a computer screen. That's why I haven't posted any of my patterns to Etsy lately, because I can't look at a computer screen to type, because all I can see is just the brightness. I've tried looking at it with sunglasses on, like sitting at my desk in a dark room with sunglasses on. I found that kind of helps, but it still doesn't help with looking and focusing on words. I don't know. Anyway, so he's like, I want you to go to a neurologist. He says, I have one that I recommend, or I refer everyone to. He's in Mount Carmel, which is 2 hours away. So I was like, if he takes my insurance, fine. I don't care. At this point, I don't care. I want to go to somebody to please fix this, something. So after that, I was super excited, because I'm like, we're going to get this taken care of. It's, you know, we're going to get this cleared up. It's going to stop. So, of course, that appointment was, you know, for, when was that? It's like 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, because I had to, yep, that's right. So, yeah. Okay. Right, that's right. I'm getting my time frame right. So, to finish off that week, and then starting the next week, Emma came home from working at the camp with her car loaded and all that. So she gets home, and we instantly have 1,000 things to do. And in between this time, I have nothing ready for YouTube. Nothing. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to let it go for a week. I'm going to let it go, because I do not have time right now. You know, it went from Emma came home, unpacked her car, house a disaster, and then the very next day is Emma's 19th birthday. So we take her to St. Louis, spend the day running around St. Louis, you know, have an amazing time, get home. The next day, both the girls had to pack to move to college. So the house is a nightmare. And then my husband, he's like, honey, will you please do me a favor? And I'm like, what? What? He says, will you please clean Mom's house? Well, for those of you that don't know, my mother-in-law is in a nursing home. She's not going to come back. She's not going to come back to the farm. And the house hasn't been cleaned in months. And I mean, and I don't mean cleaned as in, you know, like dirty dishes or stuff like that. I'm talking dusted, vacuumed, put stuff up from when she, you know, left the assisted living facility. They just, they moved all of her stuff out of there, threw it in the house, and then she went to the nursing home. So it was just a mess. So I was like, yes, I will. So the day the girls were packing and, you know, getting their stuff settled, you know, packed up, I spent the entire day from top to bottom. I cleaned 2 rooms. That's it. Because I dusted everything. I wiped everything down. I wanted it to look immaculate, for her, for my mother-in-law. And of course, I get a migraine, and I'm just like, oh my God, please. So anyway, and then that next day, we moved my youngest, Jalen, we moved her to college, got her all set up, which we didn't have a lot of stuff to move for her because her room came furnished with a bed, a dresser, and then she has 2 other roommates, so they had some kitchen stuff. The living room is furnished and all of that. So moving her wasn't bad. It was hot. I mean, miserably hot. And then we go out to eat. We did some shopping, bought her a few more things for her apartment, and, go back, move her in. Well, I told her, I was like, Jalen, we get you moved that day, but I want you to come home because the next day we got to move Emma. And moving Emma was a little more challenging because we had to move a bed, let's see, what did we have packed on there? A couch, a chair. Like, she had nothing. Her and her roommate had, nothing for their living room area, dining room area. So we had a kitchen table. And this all came from the basement of the farmhouse and then what we had here. So we get all of this loaded onto a trailer. And then it comes the next day. Jalen comes home with us. We pack everything up and we move. We start driving to 2 hours south to get Emma moved. And it is, I mean, blistering hot. And for those of you that don't know, when you're in the city, it is hotter than when you're in the country. It is just, it's, ugh. I don't know how many times I looked at my husband and I was like, get me back to the cornfields. Get me back to the cornfields. I want out of the city. But anyway, so we get down there. We get her bed set up. Well, we fight it because the box spring wouldn't fit up the stairs. So we had to go to Lowe's and get wood cut. My husband got 2x4s cut whatever length, and they fit on the bed frame. Then we just put the mattress on that, and then we put the box frame back in the trailer of the truck to haul back home. Well, so by the time we get all of this stuff moved, it's like 7 o'clock and there's still a 2-hour drive home. He's like, honey, let's just stay the night. I was like, I don't care, whatever. I'm fine with it. I don't care. So we go get a room, and Jalen just stayed in Emma's apartment and slept on the couch, and Emma in her room. And then the next morning, we met them, and then we went to a couple of thrift stores or antique stores to try to find, Emma needed an end table or a side table for her bed, and a dresser. I said that we packed a loaded dresser. It wasn't a dresser that we took. It was the table, the couch, the chair, the mattresses, the bed frame, and all of that. And so we needed to find her a dresser, and we found one at an antique store for $100. And then we found a little side table, which was amazing to me. The side table was so heavy. This little side table was heavy as heck. But the dresser, the side table was $35. The dresser was $100. And with the drawers taken out, I literally just grabbed it, picked it up, and walked it to her from the trailer to her apartment door. I was like, how is this $100 and that's $30? Anyway, so we got her all moved in, and then the next day we found the dresser, we found the side table. Then we went and loaded her down with groceries. We loaded Jalen down with groceries. It's funny because Jalen, she's kind of like me. After I moved out, and I had my own place, I told everybody I survived on the toddler diet. Anything you could just throw in the oven, throw in the the microwave, that's what I lived on. Just open a bag of chips and eat some chips. That's what I survived on. Jalen too. Jalen can make herself a grilled cheese, a bowl of cereal. That's her. She's just like me. That's the way I lived. Now Emma, she will cook. She will, make mashed potatoes, make this or that, actually cook something. So we spent a lot more money on Emma's food than we did Jalen. So I was like, Jalen, you understand what's happening, right? Emma cooks. You don't. It's easy to buy you some chicken nuggets and you're going to survive. Chicken nuggets and french fries, and you're going to survive a week off that. Anyway, so we loaded her down with food and all of this. And then finally at about 2 something, we start heading home. And it's a nightmare. Like my eyesight and all that. I kind of went out of order. I had my neurologist appointment before we moved the girls in. I skipped right past that. Sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But anyway, so at this neurologist appointment, I was so excited because I'm like, Dr. Cycle, I love my doctor. I love him. And he tells me, I'm going to refer you to this psychologist, this neurologist that I refer everybody to. I like this guy. And I'm like, great. So I'm thinking I'm going to love this doctor, this neurologist. And we get there and he comes in and he's just, I'm trying to think of how I can say this. I did not want to try to lead the doctor down this path. I wanted him to draw his own conclusion, like maybe it's this, maybe it's this. And I went to this appointment knowing that it was going to be labs and imaging. I knew he wasn't going to, it's this, take this pill, here you go, all solved. I knew that wasn't going to happen. However, I kind of expected him to listen to me more. On one hand, it really upset me because I couldn't talk. All he did was ask these questions. Have you taken this? Have you taken this? Nothing to do with my ear. Nothing to do with quitting smoking. Nothing. And of course, my husband, being him, the doctor's like, well, how much coffee do you drink? I drink this a day. One of these a day. And I think this is like a 12 ounce maybe? 20, I don't remember. Anyway, and my husband starts arguing with me. He's like, oh, honey, you drink 3 or 4 of those a day. And I'm like, I do not. And of course, the doctor just looks right at him and says, so how many cups a day is she drinking? Like, I'm not even sitting there. And I am just like, you son of a... Because I know what's happening. I can tell this guy is just like, I'm not even going to listen to her. I'm just going to ask the husband because he'll tell me the truth. And he's like, my husband's like, oh, she drinks 4 or 5 of those a day and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, where are you coming up with that? I drink 1 of those a day. And I just shut down. I'm like, what the? Okay. Anyway, so, the doctor's asking me nothing about my ear, nothing about quitting smoking. He's just like, do you have head trauma? Do you take this medicine? Blah. And I'm like, no. And he's like, have you had a change in caffeine in the last 4 years since all of this started? And it's aggravating because I'm trying to tell the story and explain the whole story. And all he hears is, I've had migraines for 4 years. And it's like, that's not the story. Would you just shut up and listen to me? I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. Whatever. And I And he asked me some more questions, and I tell him, and then the first thing he says is, so these are the only medications you take every day? And I was like, yes. I take Sprintec for birth control. My primary, whenever I first went to him, prescribed me amitriptyline for migraines. Does nothing. Not a thing. Everything is just exactly the way it is, but I'm still taking it. And I take, that's it. That's all. Yeah, that's all I take. And he's like, okay, first thing, I want you to change that birth control. He said, that birth control, first of all, the first side effect of that birth control is migraines. He said, I want you to stop taking it. He said, second, that birth control has a very high stroke risk. And he said, so he's like, we have got to get that changed. I want you to do something else. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'm sorry, along with the amitriptyline, the nurse practitioner under my primary gave me a prescription for sumatriptyline, which is an as needed migraine thing, and I take that because that instantly stops the ocular migraine, stops the visual stuff. So then he also told me, he goes, that birth control in conjunction with that sumatriptyline, whatever, I don't even know if I'm saying it right. He goes, that number one side effect is not side effect, but has a high risk of stroke. He goes, so this stroke on this stroke, stop. Do not take that anymore and change your birth control. I'm like, okay. And he said, and then I want you to get labs and I want an MRI. He said, I know you've had those 2 CTs, but he said, I want an MRI of your whole head with and without contrast. He said, just a CT, looking at a CT is looking at an old tube TV. He goes, an MRI is like looking at a high definition TV. He goes, that's what I want done. I want 2, one with and one without contrast. And I was like, okay. So, yeah, that's where we are now. I got my lab done that day, and it came back. I had low protein, and my creatinine and bun is high. And but anyway, they called me with the results, and she said everything looks good. His name's Dr. Pigeon. She said, Dr. Pigeon looked at your B12, and she said, it's not like on the charts low, but it's on the border. And she said, Dr. Pigeon wants you to start taking B12. I'm like, all right. So I started taking B12, no change. Nothing. Which, did I expect it to? Not really. So I'm still waiting for the call from the place to get the MRI, and I'm still waiting because of course I can't just go to the doctor to get a different birth control. I have to go to a OBGYN, which whatever. But it's so aggravating because it's like I feel like nobody will listen what I'm trying to say, and like that's what I mean. Like I'm not trying to lead the doctor like it's this without him looking at this going, no, it's the, you know what I mean? So that's why I wasn't pushing it to say, I'm telling you, it's my ear. There's correlation between my ear and my head. I just let it go, just like, fine, he'll figure it out. This isn't his first rodeo, whatever. I'm not gonna, try to push it. But it's so horrible. Like, the pain behind my eyeballs. Like, I have been taking ibuprofen way more than I should. And I know that's probably one of the reasons why my kidney, the bun and creatinine, whatever it is that's from I think it has to do with your kidneys, I don't know, was so high is because my kidneys are working overtime because of all the ibuprofen I take, but nothing else is working. Like right now, my ear is so swollen feeling. It doesn't, yes, it hurts, but it's tolerable because I've freaking dealt with it for so long. But after that, it's the light sensitivity. Like if I glance up, all I can see is the light from that. Like how horrible that is. And I'm so sick of it. It's like I would love to not, like I will deal with the tinnitus. I will deal with the ear pain. I will deal with the pain down my neck. I'll deal with it all. Just, God, fix my eyes. I cannot stand it anymore. Oh my gosh. But anyway, other than that, my husband and I, for the first time yesterday, just sat and chilled out. Finally. I want to make sure I've got everything, that I've talked about everything. But yeah, so that's why I want to apologize for the lack of videos. I don't mean to. It's just, and I don't necessarily want to say it's one thing after another, because it's not. I mean, it's life. I moved kids out. We're empty nesters now, and I hate it. I hate being alone. You know, I always had one of the girls here, but anyway, I have some tutorials coming up. I've got some quick ones. Just, I did another butterfly magnet that I love. I think it's so stinking cute, but I can't finish it because the youngest little runt took all of our pipe cleaners. Her and I have she's the crafty one like me, and then Emma is the more of the outdoorsy one. Jalen's more of the crafty one, and Jalen and I shared this square box thing with a bunch of pipe cleaners in it. We shared it. Well, that little butt moved an hour north and took them, and I texted her. I was like, Jalen, do you have the pipe cleaners? She's like, yeah. I was like, you kidding me? She comes home Wednesday to visit her dad before school starts. So I was like, could you please bring home just a handful of the black ones? Because I need those to finish my butterflies. So I don't have them finished yet, but I have them going. So that's an upcoming tutorial. And then I had this really cute little trivet hot pad that I made, double thick, that I want to show you guys. And I have been working a lot on my mother-in-law's Lord's Prayer filet crochet project, the Finish It Friday project, the last one you guys seen. I have been working on it a lot, not as much as I would want to, but I've made a lot of progress on it. Nowhere near to being done. I think honestly, I've come to the conclusion, I don't think I'm gonna have it done in time. I'm gonna try my freaking hardest, but I really don't. That's okay. But yeah, other than that, I'm just getting back on track now. It's like July and the beginning of August was just like blah, 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 blah. But anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. And this is the first time ever that I have filmed a video, edited it, and posted it the same day. So yeah, that's the first time I've ever done that. But I gotta get back in track. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss what's next. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.